Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Sammy P. Thank you for joining me this early morning. Um, the Queen has some very dicey subjects to bring to you. I can only put two in the title today, but this will be a three-part live. So please bear with the information. If you don't have time to listen to the entire live stream, feel free to go back to the replay, view the chat's comments. The first topic in the headline is a woman found deceased in a Las Vegas parking garage, 23 days dead inside of her car. Baton Rouge bodies being dumped, allegedly no connection. And lastly, school teacher by the name of Jacqueline Ma has been accused of raping a boy child. And I'm going to bring you that said information. But first, let's talk about Miss Shanquella Robinson. As many of you follow my content and breaking news, an African-American female from Charlotte, North Carolina last year traveled to Mexico with some alleged friends, some demon beasts, and she found herself beat up in a hotel villa by the said parties. Do not know how many people participated, but one of her so-called friends recorded the altercation, and she was later pronounced dead from that altercation. And I'm going to bring you an update pertaining to the autopsy report. Thank you for joining me. You're now listening to the Vault XL. Like, share, subscribe. Pass this information along. Make it go viral. Thank you for your time. WBTV Charlotte News is the source. This content was uploaded 17 hours ago. Thank you for your time.
Her name has made headlines nationwide. It's been more than 4 months since the Charlotte native went on a trip with friends to Cabo, Mexico. She didn't return home alive. Mexican authorities have ruled her death a femicide or murder. The FBI also investigating her death. But here we are 4 months later, still no arrests in this case, leaving many questions like how did this happen and who did it? Today, the attorney for Shanquella Robinson's family sent us a copy of a letter. The Robinson family and a national activist are now calling on President Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to personally help to bring justice for Shanquella. The letter to the president also included a packet of Mexican police records that had not been released previously, and an autopsy. There's a copy of it for you right here. We went through it very carefully, and we found there are some key takeaways here for you to understand. First off, this was performed the day after Shanquella was killed. It shows Shanquella died from atlas and medullary dislocation. In simple terms, that's a broken neck and a severe spinal cord injury. The autopsy also found contusions or blunt force trauma to her front region or her head and parts of her pelvis as well. And there were also friction burns on her body. In early November, this video showing an alleged fight went viral on social media. Now, we don't know if she sustained those injuries described in the autopsy during this fight, but her family says this is Shanquella in the video. And the FBI in Charlotte tells WBTV they were also sent that video. Now, in the packet of documents they provide by the law firm representing Shanquella's family were those police reports. They interviewed someone who interacted with Shanquella and her friends while in Cabo. Here's our Brandon Hamilton's report.
An employee at the resort Robinson was staying at describes providing assistance to the friends in Robinson inside their Cabo, Mexico villa. That unidentified male employee told investigators the group arrived on the night of October the 28th. He said he met Robinson around dinner time. He added she was the last to the table, quote, seemed not to fit in with the others and was out of place at that party.
Obviously, Shanquella was attacked by someone in the group, one of the travel mates. So the employee describing their interaction lets me know that the environment that she was in for her last moments wasn't a positive one.
The next day, October the 29th, as we've reported, Robinson was found dead. According to the transcript, the resort employee received a text from the main guest asking about medical service. It added that Robinson had alcohol poisoning. Employee later learned Robinson had died. In the initial death certificate provided by her family, a spinal cord injury was listed as the cause of death. In the hours after her death, again, according to the transcript, the group requested a driver to go to dinner. They would never come back to the villa. After seeing this viral video, the employee in the transcript said, quote, "I realized that practically the main guest had manipulated me with the information she provided of what happened to leave the country as soon as possible."
And our Brandon Hamilton joins us here in studio with more on this. I know you've been following this story very, very closely, really more than anybody else reporting on this. What stood out to you most? What did you learn from these documents today?
Yeah, when you're reading the documents, what stood out was that interview from the employee that worked at that villa where they stayed at. He talked about when those guests arrived. He talked about when they got there, how Shanquella was. So from reading that, he said that she seemed like she didn't fit in. So that leads you to think what happened in those hours to make her standoffish, because you would think if you went on a trip with someone,
with friends,
to another country,
yeah,
you would also be happy and be more juvenile in your expressions of wanting to be there. So that stood out for me, just the fact that he says she didn't seem like she wanted to be there.
Interesting. What is the Robinson family hoping the Biden administration can do at this point?
Yep. So they've been calling on this diplomatic intervention, which essentially is terms of having the president or someone of top authority in our federal government get involved by saying and doing to speed up the investigation process. And by speeding that up, the attorneys, they've been saying this when they went to D.C. earlier this month, and also in the letter, they want either the United States government to either extradite that one person that Mexico has said is direct aggressor. They want that one person extradited back to Mexico, or to have the United States government take over the investigation and prosecute the person or persons in the U.S. And they want it done swiftly.
But bottom line, the FBI really not saying a whole lot, just that they're investigating, right? All right, our Brandon Hamilton's been on top of this story. He will continue to do so. Brandon, thanks for stopping by. If you have our WBTV News app, you were the first to hear about these new developments.
All right, everybody, WBTV Charlotte News is the source. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this information. Hello, everybody in the chat. Very interesting information. Let's chop it up. Shanquella Robinson traveled to Mexico with people who she thought were her friends. We now have a hotel employee, a male, who has decided to speak about what he observed and was told to him on this fateful trip. She seemed out of sorts, meaning what exactly? I'd like his exact words. She seemed like what? What happened before or during the trip exactly? Because that's how we're going to get to the bottom of this information. What actually happened? Did somebody say something out of the way to her before getting on the plane, while in the airport, while in the air, when the plane landed, when they got to the villa, when they got in the villa? Standoffish at dinner. She didn't seem to fit in. Exactly what the hell happened for there to be an altercation with the party guest? So then you have to ask yourself about the guest who took the blows to the head in the video. How close was she and that female? How close was she with the people on the trip? There are rumors that she paid for the trip. Is that true? Did she buy a ticket for one, ticket for two? What are we saying? Did she pay for the villa? If so, how? Most people know you use credit card or a debit card to book airline flights, train flights, hotels, because that's usually how you reserve a room in a hotel, villa, resort, Airbnb, so on and so forth. Who paid for the trip? Did anybody pay his or her own way by flight and partial fees for the villa? Because that's going to be relevant too, since there were so many rumors swarming that she paid for the trip. Because one would say, well, damn, if she paid for the trip, how the hell is she, as the party hostess, being beat up? Were these people jealous of her? Was it a setup? Because you got to ask yourself these questions, because you got to try to figure out how the hell did this girl end up beat up and then dead? Hours later getting medical treatment. Why were they lying to people about her having alcohol poisoning? Well, naturally, they would lie because they know that they are party to a murder. You stood by, you watched, you didn't aid her. We do not even know what actually happened after she got beat up. Was she moved? We hear that she has contusion. A contusion. A contusion is a bruise. Okay? A contusion is a bruise by Google definition. Friction on the body. One would say that's possibly from being moved around on carpet, perhaps. Maybe she has carpet burns. I'm just throwing that out there. Not saying that's true, but I'm assuming. When they say the body had friction, could that be from her being dragged around, pushed around on carpet? Because I would assume there may have been carpet in that bedroom where the altercation took place. Did the bedroom have carpet? Did the villa have carpet? Because what's the friction on the body? Bruising on the body, head. So was she kicked? Pelvic area has some damage. How the hell did she get hurt down there? So this leads me to think that somebody was kicking her. So now you have to ask the ultimate question. Were there others who participated in the beating of Shanquella Robinson? Possibly. You see, where I have a problem with this investigation is that it's taking too long. 4 months in, it seems longer. FBI involved. We have news agents following people to their jobs to interview them, but they don't show their face. Some young lady they approached. Is that one of the young ladies that was arrested or interviewed or named as a suspect? Why are there no arrests? They're all guilty to me because they all were a party to the lie. You watched it. You didn't intervene. You didn't get her immediate help. So you are guilty. That's the law. Now, they're in another country, so things may differ down there. And we know with all the strife of people getting murdered down there, drug trafficking, cartel, stay your ass out of Mexico. That's my advice to anybody, black, white, blue, green. You have no business down there. And we don't even need to be doing business with them, the United States government. We now have information coming out about the cartel and Texas ranchers. They don't have control over their land. So this is why we need to tighten the borders. And I don't mean to get political, but it is what it is. Those people do not care about their own people. And what's sickening is that Americans going down there getting killed by their own damn friends. How bad does that look? You're in a war-torn country that you really don't need to be in because of the cartel, and these people are greedy and thirsty for money. And you're walking around with white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, black skin. You are a target. Stay your ass from down there. And as for Shanquella, she goes down there. She took the damn cartel with her. How about that? She took her some black ass terrorists down there with her. And that's also been asked. Should Mexico be deemed, the cartel be deemed terrorists? Yes, yes, and yes. Hello, Tay. Thank you for joining me, sweetheart. This is deep. Her family calling on the Biden administration to help aid this investigation. Yes, it needs to come to a resolution. You see, this is one thing we've learned with true crime and interrogation. You get your one person to talk. Everyone says that's usually the one that gets the deal, if indeed they're guilty in the crime. You get you one bird to sing, and the rest will follow. Whether they speak or not, you need one person to tell the truth, partial truth, and then bring the bang. Because let me tell you something. If a person thinks that he or she will go to prison for murder, you'd be surprised how quick they'll open their damn mouth. And the fact that these dodo birds could be extradited to Mexico and do time in a Mexican jail, not an American jail. Oh, have mercy. Woe will we see. Somebody needs to tell the damn truth about what happened. Tell the truth, own your part. Say you didn't do a damn thing. Say something. because she's owed that. And it would not have mattered if this crime took place in Charlotte, Mexico, New York. You all had no business beating that girl up. You had no business watching. You had no business filming. You had no business running your ass back here to America like you didn't do nothing. Now we've got a hotel employee saying the girl seemed out of whack, out of place. She didn't fit in. Well, obviously she didn't. And I hope this person is telling the truth, because many of them will say, well, why would he lie? Because we do know she ended up dead. True, very true. She did end up dead. But sometimes people will, add extra on, because you got to remember he found out after the fact that she died. So I'm praying that this person is giving information is giving factual information to the best of their ability, and not just to be talking just to get attention or paid for an interview by a news entity. Because as I said, Mexico is a poor country. The people there are poor, working class, and they need money. And 9 times out of 10, hey, who's to say the person wasn't paid for the interview? I'm not trying to be facetious in my commentary, but it is what it is. And that's what's so sick about this story, is that those people down there are thirsty. They're hungry. They're vile. Good people, bad people. But it's not a place to be hanging around. I don't care that the American dollar is higher. Take your money somewhere else. I would not go to Mexico. I wouldn't buy bottled water from there. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't even really need to trade with them anymore. We're already in a crisis with China. Hey, Mexico, we don't need you. You have no regard for our people, our money, so we don't need to travel down there. And that's what's sick about this story. An American went down there with her so-called friends. So I want to know what happened with Shanquella and these goons. Who paid for the trip? What led to this altercation in that villa, in that hotel room? What happened in that bedroom? Why would you even film it? The dodo bird that filmed it, Mr. Pussyfoot. You sitting there telling your friend, why ain't you fighting back? Well, why should she be fighting? Is this over a man, a woman? What are we talking about? Who get to use the flat iron first? What the hell are we fighting over? That you feel like she should be fighting another woman back on a vacation trip. Let me clarify that. Why not? Why you don't want to fight? What does a grown woman look like fighting back another woman? She's on vacation in a nice resort, and she should be what? Fighting somebody on the trip. You sound stupid even saying that. So now we want to know why she should have been fighting this person back. What did she do to this person that you all felt the need to bring out a fucking cell phone to film it? Why? Tell me why. And then you all scurried back after she's dead. You lied to authorities and medical staff and hotel staff that she was drunk. We've got pelvic area messed up, friction, contusions, bruises to the head, spinal injury. You all whooped that girl to sleep. Now, as they said in this commentary, did she have any of these injuries before going to Mexico? Did she already have a spinal injury? And then the altercation with the girl was exacerbated by her fighting this young lady or not fighting the young lady, and then she died. What's the truth? As they say in the street, with friends like these, who needs enemies? Exactly. You see, there's always somebody in the bunch that don't like somebody. I've said this to somebody recently. You can have 5 or 6 women that hang with each other. One's friend of this one, one's friend of this one. But baby, believe me, whether you 22 or you 52, you can best believe somebody in that little group don't like the other one. There might be the one in the middle that's the nicest. She shares the friends. She's friends with Susie. She's friends with Mary. But maybe Susie and Mary don't like each other. or get along. You see what I'm saying? But the nice one's in the middle. See, I don't hang with women. I don't care to hang with women. That's why I try my best not to hang with women, because there's always static when you hang with women. Somebody said something. I don't like your tone. I don't like the joke. It's always some bullshit. See, men, they laugh off snide remarks with one another. Because usually men don't carry, their heart on their sleeves. They don't take things personally. We as women, we get offended easily. So that's why I don't like hanging with women, because we tend to be slick creatures. Yeah, I say it because it's the truth. And I can tell you right now, I'm 52 years old. I ain't going on no trip with no bunch of heifers. Nowhere. Not now, not never. You think the queen ain't been invited? Hey, you want to go down to Atlanta? Hey, you want to take a cruise? Hell no. If I barely deal with you on dry land, you think I'm going to go on a boat with you? If I just started talking to you or speaking to you, you think I'm going to take a winded trip with you? Hell no. I learned my lesson 2 years ago, fooling with family members on a trip. Worst mistake of my life. It ain't going to happen again. And these were relatives, okay? Drive your own car. Have your own transportation and have your own room. Stay woke. Stay woke. That way, when you smell something seems awry, you can get your ass up and remove yourself from the equation. You see, you can't remove yourself if you staying in the same villa, Airbnb with somebody. Come on with it, Queen. You can't remove yourself if you ain't the driver. You ain't got no key to nothing. It's the same thing with living with people. It's the same game. You ain't got no key to the front door. You probably need to find you somewhere else to stay. Oh, I didn't hear you knocking. I was asleep. And you standing out there in the damn cold, can't get in to a warm bed. Because one, that ain't your house. Two, you ain't got no key. The game is the same, baby. Even in the villa. You trapped. She was trapped in there. With them damn heathens. Shanquella Robinson was trapped. And that is a terrible place to be. It's to be on a trip with people. You're staying in the same place. You don't got no private transportation to vacate the premises. But see, she went along with the flow, because if I had felt anything awry once I got there, let me say this, once I got there, I would have kindly removed myself. How about that? And anything I had to say, I would have said it in the wide open. Be it a hotel lobby, airport lobby, wherever. That way, if you're going to beat me down, you get ready to beat me right here in public. We can get ready to get behind no closed door and you think you're going to whoop on Queen. Hell no. If she felt any discord before going in that villa, she should have said her piece before walking in the villa. Because everybody knows that once the doors close, you are on your own. Whether you in there with one person or you in there with 6 or 7. And that's where she fucked up. She was trapped in there with too many people. And obviously they were none but a gang of goons who favored one another. Because they surely didn't favor her. Because what you have to ask yourself is the obvious. Where is the person that should have been her savior to speak up on her behalf? Hey, man, y'all know what y'all doing is wrong. Hey, put that camera down. What you filming that for? Now, allegedly, there was rumors that one person, one female, was favoring her, but you couldn't have favored her because she ended up dead. So you can't say you were favoring her, because if you was favoring her, If you was in that room when they were filming, you should have went up to dude and said, man, put that camera down. What the fuck you filming for? You don't need to be filming that girl. Why? Yeah, we supposed to be friends. We supposed to be on a trip. What y'all arguing about? Why you filming? She could have stopped that right there. And then what the other chick gonna say? She want to fight her too? Well, you ain't got nothing to do with it. And I still would have bucked up and said, I don't give a damn. I'm not going to stand here and watch you beat this girl up for nothing. I ain't with this. And I didn't come on this trip for this. See, that's a friend. And you could have still been a decent associate if she wasn't Shanquella's friend, the so-called one that spoke up on her behalf. Because perhaps maybe the others would have said, okay, you right. We ain't going to go down like this. We'll need to act like this. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know these people from a can of paint. I don't know their real relationship to Shanquella. How it came to be that they all ended up in Mexico, but this was a trip to hell. Do you hear what I'm saying? And as her father said, to go down there and have to bring his child back in a box is horrific. And we as Americans have to be careful when we travel to foreign places. That is common sense. Nobody would ever think you'd have to fight from your own damn friends, associates. That's why I'm not going nowhere with nobody. And I tell people, don't ask me to go nowhere. Don't even ask me to go on a tour bus with you. Hell no. Because if I can't jump up when I want to go, I can't get no rest, no sleep. I want quiet. I don't want to hear you talking. I don't want to hear you laughing. That's my peace of mind. That's me personally. When I want to zone out, I want to zone out. When I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. And I don't want nobody coming in telling me when I should be awake, when I should sleep. Hell no. That's why, guess what? I will rent a car or I'll drive my own car. And I will tell any young person this. You better know your damn friends. Because Shanquella got hoodwinked and bamboozled on this trip. And what will be disturbing is if we find out that she already had reservations about these people beforehand. Then why did she go down there with these people? Because I don't know what's the truth about her paying for all these people. Because in my mind, I would hope she had some type of discernment before paying for a trip, if that is true. If that is true, hell no, I don't really care for her. I ain't paying for her. So what you have to ask yourself, did she book the villa and then everybody had to pay their own way to fly there? What is the truth? See, we're not going to know. Maybe her parents can tell us the truth about the arrangements there. What did Shanquella pay for? Did she pay her own way there? Did the other people pay their own way there? Or did she pay for the villa and then they pay for their own flights there? What is the truth? Because what is devastating is the obvious, that they went on this trip, whether she paid for the trip or not, whether she paid for all airline tickets, which to me that would be very expensive to pay for airline tickets from Charlotte, because that's a nice little ways. That's a lot of money. Then you got to eat and drink and tip. That's a lot of money. It would be baffling to know she paid airline tickets and booked the villa and died by the hands of one of those goons that was supposed to be her friend. And her other friends stood by and watched and filmed her get beat up, and they let her lie in a villa dying without medical treatment because they knew her injuries would show she was battered. That's why she died, see. That's why there was no rush to take her to the emergency room, call an ambulance. Because they knew they're going to look at her and tell. And whether you want to believe the medical staff is not up to par in Mexico, common sense, they would know a person's battered or not. Now, what they'll put on the paperwork, that's entirely up to them. But deep down inside, anybody looking at her would see she was wounded. Friction on her legs, arms, probably from being dragged across the carpet or floor, being scraped up. Contusions, bruises to the head. She was battered. That's why they didn't rush to call the ambulance. These some foul-ass friends. And they're not friends, they're goons. They are some black goons. That's all they are. And if they were white, if they were Mexican, I'd call it the same. Mexican goon, white goon, Irish goon, it's all the same to me. You don't know people. I keep telling people this. You think you know people. You think you cool with people. Because let me tell you something. Many of us will never tell the truth that we may speak to people, laugh with people, go places with people, hang out with people, but there's something about them that we do not like. And you know I'm telling the truth. There is something about everybody that we do not like. You always got something about somebody that you do not care for. You cool with them, but you could say, hey, he or she could do a little polishing over here in this department. And this is why I will not travel with anybody. Because I've experienced bad experiences visiting people, going out of town, staying with people, going on a trip 2 years ago with some people. I am not going nowhere with nobody unless it's my husband. I'm not married, but I'm just saying. That is the only person I'm going to be in a villa or a hotel room with. But a group of people inviting me somewhere to stay in an Airbnb villa, hell no. Because I'm not getting ready to be watching my pocketbook, my purse, my wallet. I'm not getting ready to worry about you digging through my things while I'm in the shower, while I'm asleep. I'm not getting ready to risk it. And most people will say, well, if that's your friend, you wouldn't worry about leaving your purse unattended and this, that, and the other. Well, I'm not about to give you the opportunity. And I know that's a terrible way to live. But I don't trust nobody. So long as you have access to my personal belongings, hell no, I don't trust you. It's no different than living in an apartment and somebody has a key to your apartment, such as the maintenance workers. They had to come in and fix something. It's all the same. You got access to my personal belongings. I'm not here. I don't know what you're doing while I'm gone. Well, I'm on a trip with some people I think I'm cool with. I don't trust them either. Because how many times have you heard horrible stories with people when they went on trips with people, they went to somebody's house, spent the night, or you invited people over, something went missing, something got stolen, something got broke, somebody got mad, somebody had a tussle. Now you done fell out with them. Exactly. Trust no one. Prayers for Shanquella's family, justice for her. The FBI is involved in this case. We need an arrest. Because the longer you all take, the worse it gets. Her family needs justice. And if you all have one person in mind as the perpetrator of the beating, you bring that person in and arrest them. You see, where they messed up, they should have had them detained when all names were given of who all was on the trip. And the police should have told them, we're not letting you go until you tell us what the hell happened to Shanquella Robinson. Because let me tell you something. If you're not used to jail, sit your ass in there for a little while. You'd be surprised how quick a person will talk. We're holding you under the suspicion of murder. How about that? You would have had a walkie-talkie. Now, I won't doubt that they have had at least one person talk in that circle. But they're trying to decide what's the truth pertaining to their version. So the FBI is probably trying to figure out who's telling the truth, who's the culprit, who did the filming, who tried to intervene, and why did all of you all sit idly by? Because in the end, everybody can give a fake version of where they were when she got beat up. But in the end, at some point, all of you knew she was in distress. No way I'm going to sit here and believe that all the people in that villa did not know she was in distress. Even if it wasn't but 2 in the room, 3 in the room, at some point before she died, everybody in that villa knew that there was a fight, that it was filmed, and that she was in distress. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. That's my update pertaining to Shanquella Robinson. Prayers to her family. Baton Rouge bodies being dumped. What is going on in Baton Rouge? Thank you for joining me. This is a 3-part live, everybody. So bear with the information. Newsweek.com is the source. Baton Rouge dead bodies mystery. Police maintain they have no suspicions of foul play regarding the discovery of multiple deceased bodies in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, according to reports. Last week, the Baton Rouge Police Department confirmed the death of 42-year-old Nathan Millard, who went missing February 23, 2023. Police Captain Kevin Hines spoke at a press conference and confirmed that Millard's body was found dumped on March 6 at about 3:34 a.m. in the 2900 block of Scenic Highway. According to a News Nation report, 2 other bodies were also discovered on the same day that Millard went missing, and police also said they don't suspect foul play in those cases. Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy J. Paul, also highlighted the details from the preliminary autopsy report on Millard's body. It said, March 7, 2023, an autopsy was conducted on the remains of Nathan Millard, 42 years old. No evidence of internal or external trauma noted. The final autopsy results pending further studies, including toxicology testing. The cause of death and manner of death are pending completion of the final autopsy report. At the press conference, officers refused to comment on whether police believe drugs were involved in the death of Millard. Police have since announced they are looking for 45-year-old Derek Perkins, who may have information related to the case. News Nation's Ashley Banfield spoke to former homicide detective Phil Waters about Millard's case and the details regarding the other bodies found. Banfield said 2 other bodies showed up in Baton Rouge and they were wrapped up and dumped, and they are saying no foul play. Something stinks. Something is very weird. She continued, let me give you 2 other examples. A woman called Treasure Short was dumped, allegedly by another woman named Andrea Matthews. It turns out Treasure Short was wrapped in bedding and dumped in a wooded area. Speaking on another investigation regarding a dumped body in the city, Banfield continued, Macy Peebles was dumped, allegedly by someone named Damian Matthews. No connection to Andrea Matthews, by the way. No connection so far. Waters indicated that as of yet, there is nothing connecting any of these cases, and attempted to explain what could have happened to these individuals for the police to not suspect foul play. He said, it doesn't appear that any of those cases are connected in any way except for the fact that there is no visible trauma on the body at the time. We don't know about the results of the autopsy, and we don't know what the results of the tox tests are. In my opinion, they are going to be critical in these investigations. They have got suspects, and all of them, it doesn't appear that they are connected. I will tell you that I had a case similar to this where we found a woman, her body fully clothed, sitting on a very nice grassy esplanade in a very nice neighborhood. It looked like she was asleep. She was not. She was deceased, and tox tests later showed that she had overdosed in some way. When these things happen, the fact that these folks are getting caught dumping bodies, this is what happens when dopers get together and ingest their dope, and then one of them dies. The first thing the other one thinking is, number 1, I have to get rid of the dope. Number 2, I have to get rid of this body. That is what is happening. Newsweek has contacted Baton Rouge Police Department via email for comment. So obviously they didn't respond. They don't have an update here. Newsweek is the source. So basically, thank you, Miss Jet. Thank you, Crazy P. Thank you all so much for tuning in. So we got people being dumped. Allegedly, none of them are related. Got suspects in each case, but they're not related. I do believe that when people have overdosed on drugs, it would not shock me none that a person or persons would dump the body. So in this case of this white guy, he looks like he's white. He's found dumped. No internal or external injuries. Perhaps he was with someone, had a heart attack, stroke, or maybe he did overdose, and they dumped him out of fear that they couldn't call the ambulance, because naturally they're going to ask that person for their name, information, and they would be afraid to tell the truth that they were getting high with the person, as not to catch a drug charge and possible murder charge for giving them the dope, because naturally police will get involved and the police will ask, well, what happened? What were you all doing? Blah, 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 so on and so forth. And I think a lot of people who have been found with drugs in their systems and discarded, that is possibly the reason why they were discarded, is because they died in the company of other people, and those people or person became afraid to call 911. We will see. I will wait on an autopsy report from Mr. Miller, and when I get that information, I will bring it to you. As far as this other woman dumping this other woman's body, when I get an update pertaining to that, I will bring you that information as well. Woman found deceased 23 days later in a parking garage. This is the stupidest story that I've heard, let me say, in the past couple of days, because every day there's a crazy story. KTNV 13 News, Las Vegas. Woman found dead by parking enforcement at Las Vegas airport after 23 days. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department recovered a dead body that was inside a parked vehicle at Harry Reid International Airport for 23 days. Police said on November 1st, 2022, an officer was dispatched to LAS Terminal 1 at the short-term parking garage. A call to the police said that a suspicious vehicle was found by parking enforcement. The vehicle was a Subaru four-door hatchback with Washington plates. The vehicle was found because parking enforcement was doing vehicle inventory at the parking garage. The vehicle first got to the parking garage last year on October 8th at 4:13 p.m. Now listen to what I'm saying to you. Police got there on November 1st, but the car went in the garage October 8th, 4:13 p.m. Parking enforcement reported a foul odor coming from inside the vehicle. Enforcement looked inside and noticed a woman in the back seat who looked deceased. Police investigation revealed that the vehicle owner was a 65-year-old woman who was a Washington native. The coroner suspects that the cause of death is possible suicide, but the matter is currently unknown. Police said there was a note inside with her, but that information was redacted in the public report. However, police reported additional notes with some information redacted. It reads, quote, notes were found advising, redacted, was homeless and had recently released her dog to animal shelter, unquote. Police said that the motor was off in the car and there were no keys inside the ignition. The doors of the vehicle were also secured with the sunroof open about 4 inches. The coroner said an open pill bottle of medication belonging to the woman was found at the scene. KTNV.com. Who was this 65-year-old Washington woman? Washington State native, Washington plates on the car, in the parking garage for 23 days. That is 3 weeks. Checked in on what? October 8th. Found November 1st. Who are the people checking the damn lot? Obviously nobody. Because the short term is how long? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what? 3 days? What is considered short term at this airport? The sunroof was cracked a few inches, they said. So you want me to believe in my right mind she didn't smell by day 3 in a locked car? I'll wait. Nobody ever walked by the car noticing somebody looking asleep in the back seat. Naturally, people are going about their way, so possibly they're not really paying attention to people in the garage, sitting in their car, sitting in the back seat of their car. But you should. Did the car have tint on the windows to where you couldn't see inside? How is it you couldn't smell her? How about that? Because the sunroof was open a few inches. And so we need to know what is considered short-term parking. 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, what is considered short-term? You took an inventory on a car 3 weeks later. How convenient. It was redacted in the report that she was homeless. She also gave a dog away to a shelter. She left a note behind. Open pill bottle. Was the bottle empty? What type of medicine was it? Did she consume the pills in the bottle? Prescription or not? Was her name on the pill bottle? Who is this homeless woman, if indeed she was homeless? How did she come to be homeless? How did she come to get to Las Vegas? She drove her car from Washington. Did she just move there? Has she been living in Vegas? Things weren't working out. Bad marriage, evicted, put out of her home, lost her home, apartment, condo. What happened to this elderly person? If indeed she killed herself, this is terrible. To die in the backseat of your car in a damn parking garage, had a dog, got rid of the dog. At least she was kind enough to get rid of the dog to a shelter. Perhaps this lady had been evicted and she knew she couldn't take care of the dog, so she got rid of the dog. Now, you see many homeless people walking around with pets. I don't advise that. The dog deserves to be in a nurturing environment, not open to the elements 24 hours a damn day. That's my personal opinion. But you do see homeless people walking around with pets, which makes no sense because you don't have a place to live. You can't feed yourself. Then how the hell are you going to feed a pet? Okay, Hagen says short-term parking is 3 hours or less. Okay. Well, that's my point. If I'm to believe this place is on a couple of hour window, how is it was in there for 23 days? Did somebody claim the body of this woman? Because you got to remember, this was months ago. Has somebody claimed the body of the decedent? If so, whom? And why was she in that parking garage? Why did she get rid of her dog? And why did she kill herself? If indeed she killed herself. Who is this 65-year-old woman? What is her race? Asian, African-American, Caucasian? Who is she? Married, unmarried, divorced, engaged? Children, grandchildren, family members, friends? Who's claiming the body of this lady? I want to know who claimed the body. And I want to know what the hell is wrong with this parking garage. If you didn't know that somebody had been sleeping in their damn car for 23 days. Because 9 times out of 10, she could have been sleeping there originally, feeling, safer to go in there and park her car. I don't know because I don't know the lady. I don't know her circumstances. Could it be she went in there to park, feeling it was safer to park in there? Maybe she was depressed. Depressed when she got there. Depressed with her circumstances. Just said, hell, I'm going to end it all. Or is this foul play? I don't know. Because many crimes have been souped up to make it look like the person killed themselves when it is a case of murder. When I get more information, I will bring you an update. But there is something wrong with this parking garage and their employees. Because there's no way she should have been able to lie in a car that long and have the sunroof open about 4 inches or so, and the smell will be permeating out of the car. And we already know that rigor mortis sets in hours later from death. And definitely by the day 1, day 2, she should have started to smell. Day 2 at least. And if the sunroof was open, just a little ways, the smell will be coming out of the sunroof. So come on. How is it nobody smelled this smell? If you walked by the car, you would have smelled the odor. You wouldn't even have to put two and two together where the smell was coming from. So now you got to ask yourself, how many people work the garage? How many people walk the garage? How many people check the cars? Was somebody checking the tickets to make sure that the people were checked out? Oh, I see we got a green Hyundai, blah, blah, blah. It ain't checked out. Let me get up and walk and see if the Hyundai's still here. Duh. So how many people were working the garage? Supposed to work the garage? What are their shifts? How many hours do they work? What is their job detail? Because you're not making any money if the cars don't ever check out to pay. And most times, I would assume you have to drive out and either an attendant will take your ticket or you're putting it in a machine so the banner can lift up to let your car out. That's how it is here in McGee Tyson. That car is not coming out of there till you put that ticket that you got originally in the machine. This is baffling to me. See, this is when you know people don't do their damn job. Because there's no way she should have been in that car that long. And we got to pray it wasn't even longer. See, nobody is doing their damn job. Because you got to tell me, show me how you all were walking and working in a garage with the smell of death in there and nobody noticed it for fucking 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And anybody parking their car, you didn't go by and say, damn, what's that smell? And you didn't think to go tell somebody, hey, there's a foul odor in the parking garage. What the hell is wrong with everybody? This is what I've come to learn about everybody. We're all guilty of it to some degree. You turn a blind eye to everything. You only care about shit that's important to you at that time. But there is no way I'm getting ready to roll my suitcase by no fucking car and smell death and just keep on strolling into the damn airport. Hey, you all need to go to that garage. There's something dead down there, and it ain't no rat. Damn. Man, this world is sick, man. If you're just now joining this live stream, I've given you an update pertaining to Shanquella Robinson. Her parents and family are calling on the Biden administration to aid in investigation and arrest of the parties guilty of her murder down in Mexico. I've also brought you information pertaining to bodies being dumped in Baton Rouge. Authorities are saying that they are not related. And I'm now talking about a 65-year-old woman found dead in a car in Las Vegas at the airport short-term parking. She lied in that car for about 23 days when she was finally discovered. I do not know if her body has been claimed. I do not know her circumstances and how she came to be in that car, but she did leave behind a note where she got rid of her dog. Suicide is suspected, but has not been determined. An open pill bottle was also found in the car. The car door was locked and no keys were in the ignition. Also, the sunroof was partially opened. And I still don't understand how in the world she was in there 3 weeks and nobody smelled a dead body. So they have lax security, lax parking attendants, lazy ass workers. And this is a terrible way to die, is kill yourself inside your car, inside of a damn parking garage. Can't get any worse than that. If indeed this is suicide. Prayers to her family members if she has any. I don't know her circumstances and how she came to be in the back seat of that car, what led her from Washington State to Las Vegas, but nonetheless, she is no longer living. Thank you all for your time. You're now listening to the Vault XL. Subject matter number 3. Oh, Lord have mercy. In New York Post is my source for number 3. Teacher of the Year allegedly kept groomed student's photo in wallet. A California elementary school teacher was described by prosecutors as being obsessive, possessive, controlling, and dangerous toward a former student whom she is accused of grooming and sexually abusing. Jacqueline Ma, sixth grade teacher at Lincoln Acres Elementary School in National City, who was named one of the county's top educators last year, pleaded not guilty Monday to 15 felony charges, including child sex abuse, child pornography, ABC 10 reported. Prosecutors said Monday that a picture of the 13-year-old victim was found in the 34-year-old educator's wallet, as well as jewelry that featured the victim's initials. NBC 10 reported love letters apparently exchanged in her classroom, as well as text messages sent between Ma and the victim, showed that Ma became frustrated when the victim didn't respond to the exchanges quickly enough, prosecutors said. Deputy District Attorney Drew Hart described Ma as obsessive, possessive, controlling, dangerous toward the victim, argued the victim would be in danger if Ma was released. Ma faces up to 29 years in state prison if convicted of all charges. The former teacher of the year began a sexual relationship with the victim when he was 12 years old, sent him racy photographs of herself, and asked him to take and send her videos of himself engaging in sex acts, Hart said. This defendant maintained a relationship with this child for months, maybe even more than a year, when she began grooming him, giving him gifts, helping him with school, and praising him, Hart said. Investigators, as I said, they found a picture of him in her wallet and jewelry that featured his initials. Ma was first arrested March 7 after a parent of the victim suspected her 13-year-old son was possibly having an inappropriate relationship with the former teacher, National City Police Department said. She was charged with 3 counts of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14, 3 counts of oral copulation, Lord have mercy, with a child under 14, and released on bond. Ma was arrested again the next day and charged with sexual misconduct, witness intimidation, and multiple counts of child pornography in connection to the same case. She also reportedly tried to contact the victim after her first arrest, prosecutors said. So I was trying to figure out why she would have been rearrested. So she was reaching out to the victim. While her defense attorney, Mario Vela, requested Ma be released on her own recognizance, Superior Court Judge Carlos Varela ordered her held without bail. In making the decision for Ma to be held without bail, Varela cited her position of trust toward the victim and that one of the lewd acts counts involved duress. Officials with the National School District said Ma has been placed on leave and will not be returning to the campus. New York Post is the source. Let me catch my breath for just a second. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you, lady? Let me guess. You didn't have a good childhood growing up. You were smart enough to go to a 4-year institution and get a degree in teaching, education. But somewhere along the line, your mental capability doesn't match your scholastic ability. Help me out. You had strict parents. You were never able to play outside. Never play hide and go seek, Monopoly. Is that where we're going with this, Jacqueline Ma? You had a strict mother. Is that where we're going? So now that you're an adult, you want to role play and pretend to be a child again. Because I do believe that a lot of people who molest children, rape children, they didn't have a childhood. And we learned that with R. Kelly, one of the best groomers known on earth. He didn't have a childhood because his mother made him stay inside growing up for whatever reason. Went to high school, didn't excel well, dropped out, and started hanging outside of the school because naturally he's missing school. But he was a predator even then. Now we're not in school. We're missing out on being a child, teenager. So we're now hanging outside of the schoolhouse as an adult. Stay woke. Jacqueline Ma, what is your story? Why were you grooming and having sexual relations with a child that you were supposed to be teaching? Oral copulation. Are you serious? 15 felony charges, including child abuse, child pornography. Asking him to perform sex acts in a video. 34 years of age. Had the boy's picture in her wallet, as well as jewelry. with his initials. What in the hell is wrong with you? You are not a 12-year-old wanting initials around your neck with his initials. The hell is wrong with you? Asking a child to perform sexual acts. So what were you asking the little boy to do? Masturbate? We're all grown here, even though it's daytime. He may not even know anything about masturbating. Well, he does now, if he didn't know before you introduced it to him. Are you all hearing what I'm saying to you? Buying him gifts, getting upset because he wasn't returning messages fast enough. I want you all to listen very carefully to what is being said in this article. How do you fixate in your tiny brain to be sexually, physically attracted to a child? You are 34 years of age. And why would you be attracted to a then 12-year-old? Help me understand. And now we have to ask ourselves, how long was she seducing and molesting this child? Has she molested and groomed other boys, girls? Did she have a relationship with a grown man? Did she have a boyfriend? What the hell is going on? You see, we've always known of male predators, rapists, sadists, child molesters, men that like young women, so on and so forth. And we've been hearing in the past 30 years now of women who seduce children, boys and girls. Miss Letourneau comes to mind, even got pregnant by her victim. And usually women get less time in prison because I think it's hard for people to wrap their heads around a woman sadist. And it is hard to wrap your head around that. A woman touching a child, raping a child, seducing and grooming a child, a boy child, girl child, whichever their preference is. But we do have sick people, and they are both male and female. And Jacqueline Ma is an example of a female sadist. I'm just trying to visual, because let me tell you all a little secret about Queen. Every blue moon, I will share with you my personal opinion about men. I don't go deep into too much as far as sexual things, because that's none of your damn business. But I'm going to go out on a limb right now. I am almost 6 feet tall. I'm a very tall woman. So therefore, I do have a preference of what type of man I like. I would prefer him to be tall as well. But naturally, I've seen men who are not as tall as Queen, and I'm still attracted to them. Okay? But let me make this clear. And I don't have to tell this, but I'm going to go on and tell this. I do not like very short men. He could be fine as hell. But it's odd to me to be hovering over a very small, petite man for the obvious reason. Because he reminds me of a child, especially if he looks very, very young. And that's the first thing that comes to my mind with a petite male, is that he reminds me of a child. He's fully developed for his height. He is actually grown. But in Queen's eye, he looks like a child. And that's what I will have in my mind. I'm interested in a kid. And that's just a thought I don't want to process. So now I'm going to go to this dizzy broad here. When you looked at this kid, you didn't see a damn child. Because naturally, he has a young look, young face. No matter if he actually looked maybe 16 or 17 for his age. Because I don't know how tall the boy child is. But still, even if he was almost 6 feet tall for 12, I'm still going to bet he looks like a fucking kid. Because to me, 17 is still a kid. So why would you be attracted to a child? What did she see in this boy for her to think it was okay to start grooming him? And what was his response when she first made a pass? Did he reciprocate? Thank you. Did she stroke his hair, his shoulder? What? Because naturally you can't do this shit in public because kids would talk. And then they would start teasing him. Oh, Miss Ma, sweet on you. What in the hell are we talking about? I'm actually getting a headache talking about this. Just make my stomach turn. You see, you don't know people. This is why we have crimes. It's because everybody thinks they know people. You do not know your neighbor, your friend, your husband, your children. We are all susceptible to evil. Yes. Evil doing. Yes. Mischief, mayhem. Yes. So you never can say, he would never do that. Oh, she would never molest a kid. She would never. He would never touch my daughter. He would never say never. You don't know people. And I'm sure many people who know Miss Ma are stunned, baffled, disgusted. And you probably also have people who don't think she's done anything. But as I've told you, the cell phone, computer, iPad, they don't lie. You have pictures of somebody in your phone and they're naked. You put them there. They didn't just pop up. Because if they're in your gallery, you took the damn picture. Or somebody used your phone and uploaded the content. You in a video talking to a child, asking the child to touch himself, talk dirty to you, whatever, that's you. It's not no doppelganger, not your twin, that's you. And then naturally you have the testimony from the boy child. So I'd like to know, how did it come that she got caught? He told his parent, or the parent was snooping through his things. How did it come to be that this information got out that she had been molesting this child? This is utterly disturbing. And the fact that she was named top educator last year in the school district is even more disturbing. But this is what it says. Picture of the 13-year-old was found in her wallet, as well as jewelry with the victim's initials. Love letters apparently exchanged in her classroom, as well as text messages sent between Ma and the victim, showed that Ma became frustrated when the victim didn't respond to exchanges quickly enough, prosecutors said. You also will see a picture in this article of her with what looks like colored hair. She's holding an apple, standing behind a podium. I don't know if she's giving a speech or accepting an award, but nonetheless, she is a hindrance. And obviously, she reached out to the victim after being arrested. And she was rearrested and being held currently without bail. She's obviously sick. The picture that's running on social media is of her sitting in a chair. Obviously, she's doing a probably Zoom call with the judge or somebody in a blue smock, looking like a damn fool. Arrested on March 7th after the parent of the victim suspected her 13-year-old son was possibly having an inappropriate relationship with the former teacher. 3 counts of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14. 3 counts of oral copulation with a child under 14 and released on bond at that time. But she was rearrested and now held without bail. Oh, dear God. What did the mother find pertaining to her child and Miss Ma? Because to say she suspected something was going on, what was it exactly that she suspected? His behavior? Was he acting out? Was he talking? Sex talk? Did she overhear him in a conversation talking with another child about Miss Ma? Or did she go on his devices and was snooping around and she saw video, pictures, letters, texts, or whatever from Miss Ma to her son? How did the mother come to realize her son had been sexually assaulted by Shanquella Ma? Wow. How interesting her last name. Ma, M-A. Yeah, she wanted to be somebody's mother, all right. Nasty Ma. Not your typical mother. Wow, wow, wow. Prayers to the young man, because you see, one thing people just really don't understand about grooming and touching children is that you are introducing that child to something that he or she is not ready for. And many people will tell you this even as adults, depending on what age you actually had sex. You are not mentally ready and possibly not even physically ready to have intercourse with another human being. So you as a grown-up touching a child, one, you're out of line, you're vile. You have no right to be touching a child, kissing a child, writing love letters, asking the child for sexual favors, asking the child to touch himself, ask the child to do acts to you and you reciprocate. You're out of fucking line. And you're putting thoughts into a child's head that he or she doesn't need. Now we have to worry about him going out here and doing the same to another 13-year-old, 12-year-old. Don't you get it, you dizzy broad? He could now become a molester himself because you've introduced him to something he didn't have no business doing in the first damn place. Now, naturally, he's a human being. He will have urges as a young boy, but that has nothing to do with you. Because I don't know what type of lifestyle he had with his parents, what he's been introduced to beforehand, if he already had sex before Miss Ma, I don't know. But you touching him, grooming him, did not help. Because now we have to worry about him being a sadist as a child and also as an adult. Because this is why we have rapists, child molesters. They were raped as children and molested. And you find this out with many sadists and serial killers. They will tell you they were physically and sexually abused by their family members, parents, siblings, neighbors, priests, rabbis, so on and so forth. And that's what these sadists don't understand. When you touch a child, you're now pushing that child into a universe that he has no business going and treading into. And he then or she may also become a predator as a child. And the cycle continues. And this is why a lot of women have sex early in life. They have sex as children and teenagers because they've been abused. They've been molested. They've been introduced to sex, pornography. You are a dirty bird. A stinky, dirty bird. And hell yeah, your ass don't need to come out of jail. You didn't need no bond. And I fought the jail, the judge, you were wrong to give her a fucking bond the first time for her to get rearrested. She went and did what people thought she was going to do. She went and reached out to the victim, trying to intimidate the little boy. And they say she was possessive, controlling. So she probably had all this in writing, texts and letters. Why won't you talk to me? I'm trying to talk to you. What's wrong? You don't love me? What the fuck? Grown-ass woman talking to a 12-year-old. You don't have nothing in common with a 12-year-old. His penis isn't fully developed. His mind isn't fully developed. Probably don't even have body hair. What the hell is wrong with this chick? Fucking nut. You're a nut. You are a nut that needs to be cracked. Now, we got to ask the question. Was Jacqueline Ma molested as a child herself? Who raised Jacqueline Ma? Does she have brothers, sisters? Was she sexually abused as a child to go on now to become a sadist herself? Does she have children? Married, engaged, boyfriend, girlfriend? Who is Jacqueline Ma, and how did she become a 34-year-old child molester? Female child molester at that. And what will happen to this 13-year-old boy now? because now he's been introduced to sexual acts. And I just can't even see a grown woman having sex with a boy, child, or a girl. It doesn't matter what your preference is. It's sick either way. How do you fix your face to say, I'm going to flirt with a 12-year-old? Please help me understand. Help the queen understand what the fuck attracted you to a boy child. Oh, he looked so nice today. He came in today. Oh, I love your Air Maxes. You want to come home with me? Oh, I brought you a gift. I was thinking about you. So now you got to ask the other question. The obvious question. Besides her writing love letters to him during class, and she's supposed to be teaching these kids, where were all these sexual acts taking place? Jacqueline? Where were you having sex with him? Help the queen understand. Were you meeting him out in public, picking him up? Were you all doing nasty things in your car? Or were you stupid enough to take the little boy to your house? Imagine that. Imagine somebody's got CCTV footage of Jacqueline Ma taking the little boy in and out of her house. Lord have mercy. Performing sexual acts in your car, public places, parks, because you had to be doing it somewhere. So where were you doing it at with this little boy? And he might have been flattered. He's a kid. You don't know any better. Oh, my teacher, she likes me. She's flirting with me, buying me things, writing me love letters. But imagine she's getting upset because he's not responding to her fast enough through text messages. This bitch is crazy. I'm texting you. Why won't you text back? Because I'm a fucking kid. You dodo bird. That's why. I ain't got to text your ass back. I'm a child. I'm not supposed to be texting you back. I'm a little boy. I want to go play video games with my friends. Are you all hearing this? Beat her ass in there. Yeah, I'm saying it. On this live stream. Whoop her ass in there. You beat that bitch down till she can't walk, she can't talk in that damn jail. You whoop her ass. Don't you put her in solitude. Don't you put her in solitude. You let them inmates have their way with her and leave enough breath to where she needs a fucking walker or a wheelchair. Make her pay. Because you signed an oath to do right by children, to teach, to mentor them. And you violated the trust of a child. 34, dear. She's 34 years old. You violated that boy's trust. You violated his parents' trust. You violated the school district's trust. You violated those children that you were supposed to be teaching. And you violated being a human. Because of just certain things you just don't do as an adult. And you knew better than to be fraternizing with a child. There are too many men out here that you could be having sexual relations with. But instead, you decided to groom a boy because you obviously have control issues. You have sick sex issues. And your attraction is to babies. Because you don't have control in your own life. That's what a rapist's job is what they say about a rapist. They want control. It's about control, allegedly. So you don't have control in your life, so you decided to find a 12-year-old who you can manipulate, hoodwink, and bamboozle with gifts, money, compliments. And naturally, he fell for it. He's a child. You're a decent-looking woman. Why you couldn't go get a man out here, a grown-ass man? You like him young? Well, get a 22-year-old. Just get him grown. But no, you want something pure, untainted. somebody you can manipulate. So 9 times out of 10, you are a dirty motherfucker any damn way. You smile at everybody, made people think you were likable, but deep down inside, you're sick. And you have probably lied most of your life, manipulated people, pretended to be a decent, wholesome person when you are a fraud. Because to be attracted to a 12-year-old, your ass have had issues a long time. You don't wake up at 34 or 32, 33 and start being attracted to a child. You've had those urges probably a very, very long time. And that leads me to wonder how you were raised in your own house, what you were subjected to as a child, Jacqueline Ma. Were you sexually assaulted, Miss Ma? Because I got a feeling you've probably been touched yourself. And that's where you learn these nasty ways. And you've been holding back on the urges probably a long time. Probably the reason why you went into teaching. You like boys, even probably as a child yourself, teenager. Because as I said, you just don't wake up looking at a child and saying, hey, I want to write him love letters. Hey, I want to flirt with him. Hey, I want to solicit him for sex. This is disturbing. Please be mindful of your children, their whereabouts, the company they keep. I do believe in children having privacy, but sometimes you might need to do a little quality check on their devices to make sure they're not looking at pornography, the dark web, that nobody's sending them nasty messages and soliciting them. Because all it takes is one time for your child to fall prey to a predator. And it could be a friend, a family member, a parent, another child, a sibling. Children learn dirty deeds from other people. And yes, children are curious about their bodies and sex, but you need to watch your children. You need to watch how they interact with other people, other children, adults. You need to be aware of your children, their whereabouts, their demeanor, how they talk, how they act. And if they talk in a salacious manner, you need to pop them in their mouth and let them know that is not allowed. We don't tolerate dirty talk. We don't think dirty things about human beings. When you become grown, feel free to do what you want to do. But so long as you're in this house, you're not participating in those sex acts with nothing and no what. And you better tell me if somebody tried to touch you. You now have to talk to your children early on. Because many people still refuse to talk to their children about sex and child predators. You have to let your children know that any touching and groping is inappropriate by anybody. Whether it's friend, family, or not. You tell them no, and you run like hell. This is sad. We're in a sad world. We're in a sad time. And you have too many young people raising children, too many young people babying children, birthing children, and they're still children themselves, and they're oblivious to what it is and what it takes to raise children. And I'm not saying that his parents are young. I'm just speaking in general terms. A lot of people are oblivious to child rearing, and they don't have the tools to rear their children and teach them right from wrong and what to be aware of. There are just too many damn youngins having children. And what'll be sad is if this 12-year-old has a parent that's hell ain't but a few years older than him. What the hell can they teach him? Nothing. Because they're still a damn child. And that's what's wrong with the world right now. Everything's catered to young people, young ideology. Oh, they'll grow out of it. Oh, they'll be all right. No, they won't. Babies are having babies. This is why the world is the way it is. This is why we have so much trouble, so much drug use, pat on the back for doing wrong. You got to rear your children. You got to be aware of your children. Talk to your children. Talk to them about sex. Talk to them about relationships. Talk to them about love, friendship, betrayal. You need to start talking to your children the moment you push the baby out the womb. The street should not be your child's teacher. We all have become flattered in life. And this is how children become prey. He may have been flattered by her, liking him, giving him gifts. And then one thing led to another. That's what happens. They don't just directly come out and touch the child. They got to groom them first. Compliment them. Buy them things. Then here comes the nice, touching of the hair and the shoulder. Oh, here's my number. Call me if you need anything. And then once they get along with them, it's on and popping. Would have been nice if the child told her, I don't think this is right, Miss Ma. You're my teacher. This is inappropriate. But he's a boy. He's a boy. But now he's been introduced to salacious activities, and that's not good for him. Because as I said, we have to pray that he does not become a predator. And his parents need to be very concerned now. Because now he has had sex with a grown-ass woman. And she has done grown folks things to him and his private parts. And it's just hard for me to even imagine a woman putting her mouth on a little boy. Excuse my expression, but it's disturbing. The fuck is wrong with this lady? Man, I'm telling you. God forgive me. Whoop her ass in there. I don't care. I just don't care. And I'm not supposed to be promoting violence, but there just comes a point when, damn it, you just get fed up, and it's like you can't make people understand basic English. They don't understand basic English. How to do right by people. Stay out of people's way. Stay out of people's lane. She's that person. You can't tell her nothing because she's far removed. So when you are far removed, I don't give a damn about you because you don't give a damn. Why should I care about her? She's sitting up here touching little boys. Raping little boys. Why should I care about her? Why should I care about what the fuck is going on with her in the jail? I don't. I do not care. Because she doesn't care. And we know what the rates are of sadists being reformed. We'll discuss that, and I'm out of here. 9 times out of 10, Jacqueline Ma will not be reformed. If she's out for 29 years in prison, she won't do all of the 30 years. She'll be out old enough to probably pick up another young boy when she gets out of prison. Yeah, I said that. Because we've learned from child molestation and rapists that they rarely change. They rarely seek help. They rarely get counseling, and rarely do they change. And they end up going back into prison for the same crime. That's a fact. It's not a myth. And who would want Jacqueline Ma after this? Sadly, some man would. Some man will send her commissary, put money on her books, visit her, write her, and even propose marriage. Jacqueline Ma, you screwed yourself. You were a trusted person in the school district, and now you have nothing but a smock and a number. And I pray you do all 29 years because you deserve every damn year you touching that little boy. And God forbid any other children. And I pray that no other children have been molested by Jacqueline Ma. But you deserve to do time in that jail because you had sex with a child. And there's no return. And there's no going back from that. And you know you were wrong. And you know you had no right to violate that baby. And I pray that he gets help and counseling as well. And that he does not become a child predator or a predator as an adult. And I pray his parents will make sure that he understands what happened to him was wrong and it was not right. And I also pray that she does not get an early sentence and release from prison. Because in the end, when she comes out, what will she be able to do? Where will she live? Where will she go? She'll always be known as the woman who was a school teacher that raped her student. What kind of life can you have being released from prison as a rapist? Because now you have to register on the registry as a sex offender, which by right you should. And people need to know that you are in their community and that you are a predator. And that no one is safe around you. And you owe that little boy, his family, and the district an apology. A public apology. You probably won't mean it. Because in your sick mind, you probably don't think you've done anything wrong. Now, do you have any mental disabilities? Schizophrenia or something wrong with you? I do not know. And it'll be interesting to find out if Jacqueline Ma does have some type of mental defect. But I'm not getting ready to put it off on that because she was able to attend a university for 4 or 6 years. So she's not a dodo bird. She can exceed scholastically. So there's not too much wrong with her. She just prefers children. She's not the first. She won't be the last. I want to thank you all for your time. Following the content of the Vault XL. Like, share, subscribe. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. This was a 3-part live. Miss Ma wasn't put in the title because they only give you so much lettering up there in the title box. But I'll pin it in this video to let you know that this is a 3-part live. There's an update at the beginning of this video pertaining to Shanquella Robinson, who was murdered down in Mexico. Her parents and family members are pleading with the Biden administration to intervene in this investigation to bring all parties to justice for her murder, as it should be. Prayers to the Robinson family. Thank you all for following this network. I will be back with more stimulating conversation and commentary. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. I haven't said that in a while. I want to thank you all so much. You all have a wonderful week. Stay warm. Check my community page for all updates to breaking news and current stories. You have been listening to The Vault XL. Thank you.